virtual hands as I read on this profile. Beyond his impressive accomplishments, Samuel is a seasoned data trainer and has successfully facilitated 10 consecutive cohorts of the Tech for Dev Women Techstars Bootcamp program, data science track, nurturing aspiring data enthusiasts and newbies along their path to excellence in the data field. Furthermore, with his growth plans and community dedication, he has formed partnerships with various organizations, including the Lagos State government, to provide guidance and support to individuals embarking on their data journey. Having trained over 2,000 individuals from around the globe, Samuel's impact is truly far-reaching, and that impact is about to reach us. So with a resounding applause, I want us to flood the call with applauses. Thank you very much. Welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Samuel Ihiagwam. I am personally really excited to have you here. On to you, sir.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited to be here today. Please give me a minute. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited to be here today to get to meet everyone. I can see Peter over in the chat. Hello, Peter. I hope we're all doing great today. Also, Miriam, if I got that right. Yeah. Okay, so I believe we can get started. So give me a moment, I will pick up my screen. Please let me know when my screen is up. All right, awesome. All right, great. So kindly pardon me. In another meeting, but I'll just try to keep it as low as possible. Okay, so I believe we can get started. Welcome everyone to today's session. All right, we're going to be talking about data analytics, how it also relates to the aspect of law. I believe everyone here on this call are currently one way or the other interested in law or practicing or basically still studying, right, to have a career in law or legal tech, right? So we're going to be looking at how we can be able to utilize data analytics, which is an aspect of technology, to improve our legal decision making and ensure proper compliance monitoring. Like Deborah said, my name is Samuel Ihagwam, and I am a data analyst, also a data developer in my current role. I like to think of myself as someone who has a bit of experience in multiple data roles, being that I have experience in data science, data analytics, database administration and management, and of course, a little bit of data engineering as well. So these are like different career roles in data that you can decide to build on, right? So basically, I've been able to contribute to numerous products. Some of them are what you currently work with or use on your daily. So the current organization I work with provides digital services for banks and financial organizations. So some of my solutions would be the things that you probably would be using, right, or would not have an idea about that. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here today, and let's see how we can be able to talk about data analytics with respect to law. Now, first off, before we dive into anything, let's first understand what data analytics is. I believe before this session today, over time, you basically would have heard about data analytics, or maybe when you're trying to look at what tech career paths to go for, right? You probably would have heard about data analytics. So in your own definition, what do you think data analytics is? Let's try to see what we can get. What do you think data analytics is without having to Google it or browse it? Right? What do you think data analytics is in your own definition? And we have that in the chat. Just take like a few. Okay, anyone? Anyone? All right, so we have from Deborah, is a means of engaging data to gain insights. Awesome. We have from Jennifer also, it is the art of processing and sorting large data. From Martins, studying and making analysis of data and information. Obakwe said, I hope I got your name right. Sorry if I didn't. Data analytics refers to the process of collecting and analyzing data for a specific purpose. Awesome. Ukeme says it's data analytics means processing data. Okay, let's see. All right, so we have a good number of them already. So I'll just read through what I can actually say up until Olua Darasimi. So first off, Deborah says data analytics is let me see. Okay, so it's a means of engaging data to gain insights, right? Which means you need to get data and then use the data to gain insights into what the data is saying, right? So that's awesome. Jennifer says it is the art of processing and sorting large data, right? So you collect chunks of data. They could be large, they could be small also, but then you get them, you process them, and then be able to use it for your impact, right? Martin says you study it and then make analysis of the data and information. Absolutely. Baby girl says data analytics involves arranging data from different sources to make decisions. So this is absolutely true, right? Because you can get your data from a wide range of sources. It does not have to be one particular location or aspect that you can get your data from. You can be able to get it from anywhere and everywhere. So this basically makes sense. And then once you get the data, what happens? You use it to make decisions. So yep, that's absolutely correct. Esosa says data analytics refers to the process of collecting and analyzing data for a specific purpose. Absolutely true, because you need to have a purpose or objective for why you want to analyze your data, right? And then once you have the information from that, use it to make your decisions. Ukeme says data analytics means processing data. Absolutely. Abigail says data analysis is the collation of data, sorting data to make decisions for future development. Of course, um, Kikachu, Kikachuku says basically to organize data. Absolutely. Now, for you to be able to analyze data, right, you need to have it organized. If you don't organize it, there's absolutely no way you can be able to analyze it or make sense out of it. Miriam says it's the process of examining data to discover patterns and make better decisions. How does one particular thing compare to another? What are the things that we've been observing so far, right? And then you're creating patterns from that particular data and then use those to make your decisions. So that makes a lot of sense. Peter says it's data analytics is the use of data to make decisions. Absolutely correct. And then the last one here from Simi, handling and analyzing data to get information to be used to make decisions for areas like marketing. Absolutely true. So a lot of times, right, in marketing field, you utilize data for almost everything that you need. I'd say almost, right, almost everything, because there are there's almost like no time that you would not get to work with data for your marketing. You need the numbers, you need the facts, you need everything possible to be able to help you figure out what your next marketing strategy is going to be like. So these are absolutely correct. Okay, so the last one we have here is from Miss Summer. Data analytics can also be defined as a science of analyzing raw data to make conclusions about information. So everyone has done absolutely well with the definitions, right? It is a science of analyzing data to be able to use whatever you get from there to make decisions. Now, everybody has actually said what it is, right? One thing standing out is that you need data to be able to carry out your analytics, right? So if we decide to break these two words, right, we have data and then we have analytics. There's the data, which is what you want to analyze. And then there's the analytics, which is the process of you getting information from the data, right? So data is the foundation of analytics. Without data, you cannot perform any analysis. Now let's have a much more look at it. Data analytics refers to the science and the method used to gather information, process information, examine and categorize raw data sets to gain insights into how businesses or any other working models operate to meet their business goals. Now, so many things from this particular sentence, right? You gather data, you process it, you categorize it, you then use it to gain insight into your business or your personal happenings. And then, of course, any other working models operate to meet business goals. Now, one thing I always like to say is that before we even go far as talking about businesses and working with organizations and then making informed decisions from data, let's talk about our own selves first off, right? As humans, do we think that we make decisions based on data? Absolutely, yes. You may not have that in mind, but absolutely, yes. Now, let's put it this way. Quite a lot of times, let's say, for example, you get into school or you get admission into school or you get a new job and then you need to keep up with the job, right? Or your studies. Now, what happens on the first week, let's say for the very first week, you find out that you spent about 1,000 naira on transportation every single day, right? It's Monday to Friday, so that means by the end of the week, you'd have spent 5,000 naira every week, right? Now, if you keep on doing this again and again, you probably run out of money at some point in time and have to feel bad about the entire thing. Right now, this brings you to planning properly, mapping out a strategy and looking for a way for you to be able to best curtail your expenses, right? Then you sit down and think about it. Oh, I want to make sure that this new week, I am not going to spend as much as 5,000 naira on transportation. How would you be able to achieve that? Maybe you can decide to get up early in the morning and leave your house and then walk some distance. Or maybe you can lie to yourself that you're trying to lose weight, but then we all know that you're not losing any weight, right? You're basically out of money or trying to save up on cost, right? Now you can decide to do some of those, and then at the end of the day, you find out that, oh, you're able to save some amount of money by just walking some distance. Everyone is laughing. Okay, so you're able to save up some amount of money by walking some distance, right? So that works. Now, another thing that you might think of would be maybe you find a colleague, someone that also works around your workplace, but then lives in your area. Maybe you can find a colleague, discuss with them, and then find out how it works. If they book cabs for going to the office or going to studies, then you can liaise with them and say, you know what's going to happen? Let's split the bills. So we take the cabs together and then we can split the bills. That way you end up saving money for yourself again, right? So you're able to think about some of these things and how to best go about it. All of those that you're doing is data analytics. The only difference is that you don't have a title that you are a data analyst, right? But then everybody makes informed decisions You sit down, you plan certain things. Today you have 5,000 naira, and then you're stuck between doing child deck or cooking at home. And at the end of the day, you're able to think, if I use up this 5K for child deck, it will make sense, so, but I might have to run out of money for the rest of the week and probably go hungry, right? So you look at those and then you're able to make your proper decision. For me, I'll always make a bad decision, right? When it comes to something like that, I'll still go for the child deck because I know that I serve a miracle God. So there's definitely going to be a come true for me. So that's about that, right? As individuals, we basically make decisions based on the data that we have. Again, you may decide to ask, okay, those are like very common things, but then how do you also make certain decisions? Think about your bank applications. You can get data, figure out all your expenses, what you spend money on mostly, and then analyze them. I have a lot of persons that have analyzed their income and expenses from their bank transactions, right? You can do all of that, get your transaction statement, analyze it, and use that to make informed decisions. Now, all of this basically means that data is very, very important. Data is everywhere. We can't run away from it. We're actually in a world that is filled with so much data, right? Every keyboard tap that you make, every time you press your phones or you tap on your screens, for some of us that tap, tap, tap on our phones every time, they are all data, right? I'm sure we have hamster people on this call. So they are all data, right? You're basically putting millions and trillions of data into that, right? Now, all of those will be used to make decisions. How many persons tapped a day? How many taps did you make? And the likes, right? So basically, data is everywhere, and then we need to utilize that for our business decisions. Now, before we go on to talking about why we're here, let's understand how does data analytics work. First things first, right? You need to collect data. You need to first understand that there is a problem you're trying to solve, and then search for the relevant data for that, right? So you need to collect data. So for example, you have a project that you're trying to carry out an analysis on. You need to first understand the project and then find ways to collect the data. Figure out where you can get the data from. Maybe you can download it from the internet. Maybe it's something that you need to go out on the field to ask people questions in order to be able to get that data. Maybe you need to also carry out survey. So you need to understand your project, understand the objective of your project, and then figure out how to collect the data. Now, once you have the data collected, the next thing you want to do with the data is to have it sorted and organized. You need to properly organize your data, otherwise you end up carrying out the wrong analysis, right? So you need to understand the data that you've collected, sort it out properly, categorize them where necessary, and then ensure that they are all properly organized for an effective analysis. Now, once they are properly organized and sorted, the next thing you want to do is to clean the data. By default, you have data that comes with so many issues, right? So this does not go away when you're sorting the data. So you need to clean the data. In the process of cleaning data, you take out certain things like duplicated information. Maybe, for example, you have customers that have imputed their information twice, or transactions that are repeated. You want to have those things sorted out so that they would not affect the credibility of your analysis. So many things that you have to do. Sometimes a part of your data might be missing. You have to figure out how to have that sorted. Some other times you might have one part of the data acting like it is way, way, way having more data points compared to other ones. So you need to be able to properly understand them and sort them, right? Once you have your data cleaned, the next thing you want to do is to analyze your data. When you're analyzing your data, you begin to find out a whole lot of information about it. So this is it. So this is what is going on. How come I did not know about this? These are the things that you begin to understand when you start analyzing your data. Now, once you have your data analyzed, in order for you to make proper sense of it, you need to visualize the data. just like what you can see here on my screen, right? I have a visualization of legal cases that I made up on my head, right? Let me see. I'm trying to reduce this sharing something on this. Please give me a moment. Okay, so this is not going off as I expect. But yeah, we can be able to see a visualization of legal cases for a legal institution. We can see over the years, this is the number of cases that have been handled and how they have been sorted. Cases that were lost, cases that were won, and cases that are currently in progress. Maybe because it was adjourned indefinitely, or maybe something else happened and then the case is still ongoing, right? Or just keeps on dragging. So you need to be able to visualize your data in order to make proper sense of it. Now for this, you can see I've also been able to denote my lost cases with red, right? To tell you, oh, in 2020, these were the number of cases that were lost. They were below 10. In 2021, these were the number of cases that were lost. About 12 cases were lost. In 2022, oh, so sorry, I was looking at 2010 and like, this is actually blocking me. So in 2022, we had about 38 cases that were lost. In 23, we had about 20 lost cases. 2024, about 22 cases. Right. And then when we look at the cases that were won by this particular law firm, what's this? Okay. So when we look at cases that were won, when we look at cases that were won by this particular law firm, we can see that in 2020, about 8 cases were won out of a total of 10 cases that were handled. 2 were lost and 8 cases were won, which is quite a good one, right? In 2021, 12 cases were lost, but 30 cases were won, and about 4 cases were still in progress by the end of that particular year. In 2022, 38 cases were lost, quite a lot, and only about 20 cases were won. So you can be able to use this to track the progress of your law firm, how you're doing compared to the previous years. And then you can be able to find out, now for these cases that were won, for places where you had high case wins, how were the organizations able to win those cases? What were the type of cases that were won and things like that, right? Who were the persons that handled those cases? What were the strategies that were applied to winning those cases? So you can be able to deduce all of those from your visuals, right? And then you can see that in 2024, about 50 cases have been won so far. Only about 22 has been lost, and 12 is still in progress. Now, if the 12 cases eventually gets won, then it would mean more wins for 2024 cases. So having your data visualized would keep you a lot more informed than just analyzing it and having it in your head. Now, once you have your data visualized, using this visual, you can then be able to make proper decisions. How do we go from here? How do we ensure that the rest months of the year, we smash all the cases that we currently have at hand? How do we ensure that our revenue increases by the end of the year, right? Based on what we've actually done currently and in previous times. Now, another thing that you can also do would be to use this information that you have here and predict what happens in the next 5 years. In the next 5 years, you might say, oh, we're hiring more smarter law persons. So what that means for us is that we'll be achieving maybe a 10% increase in the number of cases that we get to win. We're also initiating new legal strategies. So we'll be seeing a turnaround in the way we handle our cases. So you're basically able to use the data that you have analyzed. Why is this missing? So you're basically able to use the data that you have analyzed and then visualize and then use that to make informed decisions. I believe we're all together, right? Everyone, can anyone still hear me?
Yes, we
All
can
right,
hear you, sir.
awesome. All right, awesome. So now, let's talk about legal analytics. Now, some persons may be like, legal analytics, what concerns data with legal, right? So basically, legal analytics is, if we put it simple, it's basically bringing analytics, data analytics, into legal operations, right? Both in and out of the court. Now, it does not have to be tailored to cases that are in the court. Basically, in the office also, you can utilize legal analytics for your operations. So how does legal analytics work? How do we get to know that we are implementing legal analytics in our law firm? Right. Now, let's look at that. So basically, legal analytics leverages data from court cases, legal documents, client interactions, and other sources to provide actionable insights. Now, it takes a whole lot of strength for you to be able to, let me see. Oh, okay, awesome. All right. So it takes a whole lot of ideas, organization, planning, and all of those to be able to implement data analytics into your legal strategies. A whole lot of times for legal firms that tend to implement these, they tend to see a lot of turnaround. I believe most organizations today, I would say, except for small businesses that are unable to handle the cost of big data and data analytics, right? Almost all businesses have one way or the other that they implement or utilize data strategies into their business operations. Think about it however you want to. In the oil industry, there's data analytics doing its wonders, helping the businesses make better decisions. In businesses, in commerce, in whatever you may want to think of, right? Also in technological institutions, right? We have data analytics making good moves for these organizations. Now, with the rise of data analytics, right, in legal operations and stuff, we can basically see that a lot of documents that we have are no longer just going to be there for people to just read it. Once you have a look at them, you can then be able to collect those documents, find the right or appropriate data to utilize, and then carry out analysis on those documents. Oh, last month we had around 15 documents. These 15 documents were focused on this. However, when I carried out a sentiment or test analysis, I was able to find out that these were the majority of issues from that particular document, right? So for some of these, you may not even have to go through it with your eyes all the time. You just need to get a data analytic tool that would be able to serve that particular purpose, maybe to carry out text analysis, or maybe you have audio files, right? You can then be able to carry out audio analysis on those guys and then extract the right information from it without having to sit down the whole day and then listen to the whole tape, right? You put those in your data analytic tools or maybe machine learning models, and then they are able to extract the most talked about content there or the right part of the issue that needs to be addressed. So technological advancements, right, in the legal space is actually doing like a great one. We'll look at them very shortly. So let's see. Now, there are subcategories of litigation analytics. Now that we've been able to understand what legal analytics is as the process of collecting your documents, court cases, audios, text, and then analyzing them to make informed decisions or to help you as a legal practitioner gain more insights before walking into the courtroom. Now, we also have some subcategories of litigation analytics that we can be able to look at, right? One of them is court analytics. We also have judicial analytics. We also have law firm analytics, and we also have attorney analytics, right? Now, basically, the goal of this is to be able to use this to make informed decisions, whether as an individual or as an organization, whether in the court or off the court. Now, let's talk about court analytics, right? from what we can see, it uses information about past cases to make inferences and predictions about the court systems. How has the court played based on certain cases? So we want to collect data from, maybe you have a particular case, or maybe you have a criminal case, right, that you need to take to a particular court. Then you go and get previous court cases for that particular court that are also on that criminal subject matter, and then begin to analyze it to find out how the court has treated this particular case. That way, you're then able to get your insights from there and work better on your strategy. So you can be able to use your court analytics to predict the likelihood of success of a future case based on that court. And then you're already aware that, okay, you see this particular court, this is how they behave. So I have to apply this strategy and this strategy to be able to get a good one out of this case. Now, we also have the judicial analytics, or let's talk about the law firm analytics. So we also have the law firm analytics, right, which basically uses data from previous cases to make inferences about a law firm. Basically, it helps you when you get data, it helps you to evaluate your own practice or the people that work in your law firm and see which areas that you need to improve for growth. For example, some of us would majorly at the end of the day, right? I believe everyone on the call are legal practitioners or aiming to become one. At the end of the day, you would have like a niche that you want to focus on, right? Some persons want to focus on criminal cases. Some persons want to focus on maybe women rights and abuse. Some persons want to focus on various stuff, right? So basically, you can be able to utilize your law firm analytics to find out which of our employees are best suited for handling a particular problem. There are some persons that have a lot of RAS, and then they know how to push out their motives, right, or motions rather, in the courtroom, right, to be able to ensure that at the end of the day, we get a good one out of this particular case. So you want to analyze data of your law firm. Oh, we have a particular criminal case. In this particular team that handles criminal cases, who will actually be handling this much more better compared to other persons? You look at their past records to find out, oh, the success rate of these persons for handling certain cases like this are high. So there is a high tendency that we should put them out on this one as well, right? Also look at other persons. Oh, these persons are great here, but they need proper adjustment, or we need to tailor them into this other category of cases, right? And then that way, they are able to, your organization or law firm is able to see increase in performance, growth, and everything, and then you can be able to use those for business decisions. Please give me a moment. Yeah, please, I'll call you back, please. All right, all right. Okay. So basically, right, we have law firm analytics that you can be able to use for finding out so many information about what is going on in the law firm. It could be in cases of finances, ensure that, oh, we're able to get clients that would actually put in a whole lot into ensuring that their cases are solved as it should be, right? You can also analyze the cases that you're getting, ensure that you weigh them properly. Is this case going to be prolonged for a very long time, or will this case be sorted as quickly as possible? And then be able to use all those to make your decisions whether to proceed with a particular client case or not, right? So basically for your law firm analytics, use it to evaluate your own practice in the law firm, your employees, and every client that you get, and then see how you can be able to improve on maybe negotiations with your clients, or in-house, your employees improve on their own practice. Then also next, we have the judicial analysis or judicial analytics rather. which basically uses ruling history to make predictions about a judge behavior. Now, for this particular one, right, it's quite similar to court analytics, but then it's a bit different because it focuses basically or majorly on the behaviors and decision patterns of the judges, right? So you want to understand, oh, this is the judge that will be handling certain cases based on previous cases like this that have been tabled. This is how the judging patterns have actually been from this particular person. Or maybe when we have this set of judges seated, this is the pattern in how they have actually ruled in certain cases like this in time past. And then you can now be able to use those to figure out your strategies and how to best ensure you get a good one out of that. So basically, you're using your data to extract meaningful language and insights from a judge's ruling pattern. And then also we have the attorney analytics, which basically uses data from previous cases to make inference about an attorney. Basically, you want to get your data, analyze, find out what your success rates in previous cases are. I believe we can actually categorize them as the same: law firm analytics and attorney analytics, and then we can also group the court and judicial. However, there are like distinctions because the law firm focuses on the law firm itself, and then the attorney analytics focuses on individual persons to figure out their success rates, areas of expertise, and performances, right? I believe we're good to go, everyone. Can you please confirm that we're good to go?
Good to go, sir.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let's look at some of the applications of legal analytics. All right, now one way for us to be able to implement data analytics into a law firm operations will be in litigation strategies, right? You want to be able to ensure that you're able to collect the right data, access those customers, access the cases that you currently have at hand, and then be able to use that to figure out what the chances of winning a particular case will be like. For cases that we've had like this previously in the past, this is how we've handled. Now, it may not also be for your own organization or law firm. You could also carry out a competitive analysis to find out, oh, the other law firm that handled a case like this was a strategy they took in order for them to be able to ace this particular case. Also, you could find out why did your clients leave their previous representatives and then come to your own law firm. What strategy did they take that did not work for them? So you can also utilize that and ensure that you're not making the same mistake. So with litigation strategy, right, you can be able to use the application of legal analytics to assess the strengths and weaknesses of the cases that you're handling, evaluate the likelihood of winning a particular case so that we'll not go and labor in vain, because that's very, very important. You don't want to go and struggle in a particular case, and at the end of the day, you end up not getting maybe good revenue from the case, and at the same time, you still did not win the case. That's going to be very, very bad. Even me, if I'm the client, I will still sue you on top of it, right? So you don't want to make a very, very bad decision like that. Now, also, you utilize data analytics or legal analytics to be able to gain insights into your clients. Analyzing your client data would help you understand the client needs and preferences, understand what they actually want, what their expectations of this case. Of course, everybody wants to win their cases, but how do you need to go about it? How do you create maximum satisfaction for that particular client? I think I saw a particular movie recently where they had like a negotiation with from both parties, both the prosecution and the defense, and then they were able to reach an agreement to give the how would I put it, to give the criminal or suspect about 15 years in prison. Right. At the end of the day, they kept on screaming because that was not the agreement. So you want to understand what is the expectations of your client? Maybe your client have committed a crime and then by all means necessary, they have to go to jail. But then you want to ensure that, oh, even if they go to jail, they should have like a reduced time sentence and other things like that, right? So you need to understand your client's preferences, what they actually want to do, and then be able to use all of those to improve on your relationship with your clients. Now, also, you can automate the analysis of certain contracts, right, to be able to identify potential risks. When you have contracts that you want to have done, a lot of times, right, you could decide to be working with an organization. You need your contracted to help them perform certain stuff, mostly in compliance and regulations, right? You need to ensure that you have the right data, get all the documents that you need, carry out your analysis of those, and then be able to use it to understand properly what they actually want, understand all the risks and how to be able to avoid those risks for your organizations or the jobs that you have been contracted for. Also, you can apply legal analytics in the cases of regulatory compliance. Let me see what we have in the chat. All right, awesome. So you can apply legal analytics in the cases of regulatory compliance. A lot of analytic tools that we have can help you monitor changes in regulations and protocols across different organizations. So you'll be able to get first-hand information of whatever changes that is going on, right? As long as you have a standardized data technology, right, you'll be able to get first-hand information on certain changes, maybe get alerts of changes that have happened, and then how to re-strategize your processes in ensuring that you're able to smash those cases. Also ensuring that you're more focused on you're keeping up with the proper guidelines for the cases that you need to handle. So I'm getting a lot of messages from work. All right. Also, another aspect that you can apply legal analytics is in market trends. Being able to understand your competitors, right? You can also decide to call it competitor analysis or competitive analysis. Carry out a competitive analysis to understand how one law firm is performing, how are they able to smash so many cases in a short period of time, what are their strategies, what are they doing right that your firm is also not doing right, or how is this particular lawyer performing, what is he doing right, what are the strategies that they are using that you are also not using in your own cases. You begin to figure this out, you begin to understand this, maybe have like a close shadowing, right? Regardless of you having to be distance apart or organizations apart, right? So you want to be able to use all those data that you've gathered from your observation, observing this person in the courtroom. This is how they handle cases like this. These are the strategies that they take to be able to smash cases like this, and then also compare them with what you're doing. Once you have that done, you'll then be figuring out your own lapses and how to make improvements in them. Also, in the aspect of market trends, you can also implement data analytics, right, in helping you gain the right customers, ensuring that, oh, we have customers, maybe this particular customer, they actually don't have much funds to be able to handle their case, but then you want to pick up that case, right, for certain other benefits that you'd gain, maybe because it will put your organization or you as a person on the spotlight for other persons to then reach out to you for similar cases, right? So it's a win-win at the end of the day. Or maybe you have other things that you need to accomplish from that. So basically, you need to be able to look at the data, weigh the outcomes and possibilities of you smashing those cases, and then be able to use those for your decision making, whether to proceed with that particular case or not. Now, according to an analysis by LexisNexis, which is a top law firm that's currently focused on data analytics and artificial intelligence, right? According to their survey in 2020, about 81% of law firms that use legal analytics say their clients look upon a practice favorably. A whole lot of times, once you're able to carry out your analysis, you don't need to be so good in data analytics before you can be able to carry out your analysis. You just need to know the basics, understand how to collect your data, understand how to sort it, clean it, analyze it, and visualize it in the way possible, right? As long as it makes sense for you to be able to use it to make your decision. Now, about 81% of firms say that their clients are much more excited when they tend to use data analytics or legal analytics in their operations. So basically, like I mentioned, legal analytics does not just focus on operations in the court. It focuses on how the institution as a whole also performs or operates. So you want to utilize that to be able to understand what do our customers want or clients, what do they actually want, what do they expect, what strategies are we going to use in terms of finances and revenue generation? How are we supposed to do these and the likes, right? And then you're able to utilize those to make your better strategies for growth. Now, among the users, 90% say legal analytics makes them better lawyers, and about 92% plan to increase their use over the next year. And this is a survey that was carried out in 2024, right? The last session that I had, at the time when I think the very first session that I had with Hilton Top, the very first time I checked a couple of law firms that utilize data analytics, they weren't so much as what we have right now, right? They weren't as much as what we currently have right now. So it means that more and more law firms, more and more legal operations are beginning to also implement data analytics into their strategies. No one wants to be left out, right? What does it mean for an organization to be data-driven? It means that they need to be able to depend on data for certain decisions that they need to make. They will not be making decisions based on their gut feelings or whatever comes to their mind, right? They would basically be making decisions solely on what the data tells them. Okay. Okay, so we have some questions in the chat. I will take them shortly. So let me wrap up with this. Right. Okay, so let's talk about compliance monitoring through data analytics. All right. Give me a moment. I think I'll just keep this here. All right. So when it comes to compliance monitoring, right, data analytics plays a very, very critical role when it comes to compliance monitoring. It helps you to be able to focus on the things that matter, right, while also saving time. Be able to have timely reporting, documenting your report processes, conducting unbiased investigations, maintaining credibility and confidentiality in your work at the end of the day, and then ensuring that there's always frequent monitoring for that particular thing that you're handling. Right. Now, just as I've always said, the first part of data analytics, right, is for you to be able to collect the data. Once you have the data collected, you want to carry out the analysis. You analyze the data to be able to find out what the data is telling you. After you have cleaned them, right, you analyze the data to be able to find out what the data is telling you. You visualize it. Then you can be able to make decisions based on those data, right? And then once you have your decisions made based on those data, you would be able to, after your analysis, identify the potential compliance issues and then quantify the priority tasks that you need to do based on the analysis and what it is telling you. Then you can now be able to utilize that to make your decisions. Also, you want to keep up with frequent monitoring to be able to ensure that you keep in track with whatever changes that there is in order for you as a person or your law firm to ensure compliance at the end of the day. I'm just going to proceed with this next guy. So we've talked about real-time reporting also and alerts. Basically, there are lots of data analytic tools that would help you perform all of these operations, recognizing patterns in your data, find out how things have happened over time, how they are currently happening, and how you can avoid or ensure that they happen even more. For example, if you're having good experiences, right? Maybe the last couple of years have been great for your law firm. You want to carry out a pattern recognition and also perform what is called a predictive analysis to use that to be able to find out how well your business or your law firm will perform in the next couple of years. Let's say, for example, you decide to take data over the last 5 years and then use that to carry out your analysis. You are able to find out, oh, for the last 5 years, these are the number of cases that we've had, number of cases that we've won, number of cases that we've lost, number of cases that we still have in progress, and how we were able to win these cases. You can then be able to use predictive analysis to predict what your potential next 5 years would be like. Are we going to have a good flow in the next 5 years, or are we going to have issues at the end of the day? Now, whatever your data is telling you, you would find out that it is not so far from what is going to be happening. So basically, predictions are not facts, right? But then we use predictions in data analytics to be able to keep us on the right path. For a business that is not performing well in the last 5 years, most likely the prediction will not tell you that it will perform well in the next 5 years. You'll also be able to see that, oh, when you're carrying out a predictive analysis, you're able to find out that in the next 5 years, it is either this business will close down, and if I were to be in that law organization, I will take my leave immediately, right? So imagine I was a data analyst and then I work with a law firm, and I was able to find out that, oh, this is how all the cases have been in the last 5 years. And then they asked me to carry out a predictive analysis. In the next 5 years, with all the things that I'm seeing, I don't think I'll be able to even provide that report because I will be nowhere to be found. They will not even see me to get the report, right? So you're basically using all the insights from your previous cases to also predict what happens in the next 5 years or the next 10 years based on certain factors that would affect, oh, if we look at criminal cases, how did we perform in the last 5 years based on criminal cases? What were the strategies? What were the issues that we experienced during this? How can we avoid them in the next 5 years? If we also look at human rights cases or women cases, how have we performed in the last 5 years? How can we be able to ensure that in the next 5 years, we're also doing very, very amazing at the end of the day, right? So many things that we can be able to look at when we are carrying out our analysis. There's so much to talk about. Maybe I'll share some resources later on for you to be able to look through. But then there are so many things that you can be able to carry out when you're analyzing your data. You can carry out a descriptive analysis to find out what is going on with your data or with your law firm, or what is going on with you as a legal practitioner. Why are you not performing well? You can carry out a diagnostic analysis to then find out, why am I not performing well as a legal practitioner? Why are certain cases difficult for me? Is it that I need to niche down to a particular case where I have a stronghold, and certain other things, right? So you're able to figure out a whole lot. Then you can carry out a predictive analysis to tell you what happens in the future based on what has happened before, right? So you're using historical data to find out what happens in the future, ahead, and then you can also carry out a prescriptive analysis to be able to provide solutions for whatever issue that is currently going on. So if there are certain issues like, oh, maybe we've been losing certain cases, you need to carry out a prescriptive analysis to provide solutions. Maybe we need to swap the guys that are handling these particular cases, replace them with persons from other teams, see how the performances go, or maybe we need to hire more guys that would take on these cases and the likes. Or maybe you can even decide to collaborate with other law firms to handle a particular case and then see how that works as well. So basically, there are so many tools that will be able to help you perform this. We'll not be looking into that because of time, but there are so many tools that would help you be able to look into these in an organization, right? You just need to ensure that you're working with the right tools so that you don't end up just beating about the bush, right? Now, when it comes to integrating data analytics into your legal workflows, some of the things that you might want to do, both as an individual and as an organization, will be to identify your company objectives or your own objectives. Understand what you want to do, set out your goals, define your metrics, define your KPIs and things that you want to use to rate your performance. Oh, how are we going to say that at the end of the year, we've actually made progress for this particular law firm? How do we say we've made progress? Maybe we might want to look at the number of cases that we've won, or we want to look at the number of cases that we've handled. Let's say, for example, you're just starting out your own law firm. So you want to look at the number of cases that you've handled as your success rate. Oh, last year I had about 15 cases that I handled, but this year I've handled about 50 cases. So that's progress for you, regardless of the number of losses or wins that you've made. Now, you might also decide to say your KPI would be to focus on a number of cases that have been won. You might also decide to say your KPI would be to focus on revenue generation or client satisfaction. How much have I gotten from these particular cases? Oh, I handled 10 cases. Of these 10 cases that I handled, I made a total of 10 million from those 10 cases. Or of these 10 cases that I've handled, I made a total of this amount. Now, you want to compare it with handling about 20 cases and still not making as much as what you made from those 10 cases. So you need to set your KPIs and metrics properly for defining what success looks like for you or for your firm, right? You also need to choose the right tools for your institution, right? You need to understand what data analytic tool works best for you. Maybe to work with Excel, we can have all the data analyzed on Excel, or maybe you want a business intelligence tool that would help you be able to create visualizations for that particular data. Or maybe you want to even go as far as machine learning and getting artificial intelligence to play a huge role for you in your organization. So you need to ensure that you're picking out the right analytic tool or technologies for implementing data analytics into your legal operations. Now, also, you need to ensure that you promote collaboration and training across your organization. You need to ensure that maybe at some point in time, you provide educational um, uh, resources for your legal teams to be able to upskill in data analytics, right? Understand how to collect data, understand how to analyze the data that they have, how to clean the data, how to visualize the data, how to make sense of it when they see a data, how to also make sense of it when they see a visualized or analyzed data, right? So you want to ensure that they are able to do some of those things without stress, basically effortlessly, right? Without even them having that title of, oh, I'm a data analyst or so. So this would actually help save you a whole lot of cost, because when they are able to understand data themselves, then there would definitely be progress, right? So I'm a big fan or advocate of preaching for data literacy across the organization, right? Advocate for everyone to be able to understand data, be able to interpret data with ease without even having to know the in-depth technical aspects of it. So you want to ensure that in an organization or in your law firm, everyone should be able to easily understand the data, be able to interpret them easily without having to wear the hat of data analysts or data professionals. And then if you have data professionals in your organization, ensure that you encourage collaboration between those two professions, right? So that you can be able to create growth and much more success in your organization. And of course, lastly, data quality and governance, very, very important. Ensure that you set out all the right processes for collecting data, for cleaning the data, for analyzing it, for visualizing it, and then for making decisions. Ensure that everything from start to finish is properly documented and used the right way as you should. Data privacy, very, very important. Ensure that everything is rightly checked before you can proceed with anything. Now, we're also going to talk about ethical considerations in data analytics. I think this is like the last slide, right? Data privacy and client consent are pretty much important. You need to ensure client confidentiality, compliance with data protection regulations, that they are all in check before you can proceed to putting out your client information or working with their own data, right? So you need to ensure that the use of data analytics in your organization complies with privacy laws and regulations in your country or across the world. Also ensure that you protect sensitive data, client information, like I mentioned, and respect individual privacy as well. Also, transparency and decision making, right? You need to ensure that you explain your data-driven decisions properly. Whatever strategies you want to implement, have them properly outlined and be sure to take them one after the other. A whole lot of us sometimes will say, oh, I'm data driven, but you're not data driven. You will see what the data is telling you, but you still go and make your own decision. That's not being data driven. If you're not making decisions based on what the data is telling you, then you're not data driven, right? Now, some persons, I think sometime during one of my speech in my organization, I think I had a session with them and I told them that, are we a data-driven organization, right? And then I gave scenario whereby we make decisions. It's not like we will not carry out the analysis. We carry out the analysis, but then we want the analysis to be in favor of the decisions that we're making, right? So that is what brings us to bias also. There's bias in algorithm, and then there's also bias by the data professional or by you as well, right? So bias basically means bias by you basically means that you're seeing what the data is telling you, but you want your own personal decisions to influence the data statements, right? So that's basically bias, right? So you need to ensure that you're keeping and utilizing the data insights as it should, maintaining transparency in the use of data analytics. You want to document the processes properly as it should and ensure that you account for every single strategy or action. And then bias in algorithms, basically ensure that you are proof checking whatever the data is saying, right? So you don't make mistakes, especially when you have data models, when you're using artificial intelligence and other sophisticated tools. You want to ensure that you are aware of potential biases from your data or your algorithms, right? And then ensure that you fact check everything that you're getting so that you don't make the wrong decisions. So that's about that for me. And one thing important for everyone to note is that data analytics is not just for technical persons. It's not just for businesses. It is for everyone and anyone. Another thing you also need to note is that when you get to measure, whatever you measure, right, gets managed properly. So even in your legal operations, if you bring in data analytics into measuring the amount of cases that you've had, amount of strategies that you've implemented, you best be able to manage all of those cases. So thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk. So I'll take some questions that we have in the chat. Let's see. How do you gather data to analyze and to make decisions for law firms, judicial officers, clients? All right, so there are so many ways that you can be able to collect data, right? A lot of times you have your data in documents, you have some as audios, you have some in different other places, right? They could be electronical, they could also be traditionally stored on your device. So you just need to figure out, oh, I need this particular bunch of text documents to carry out my analysis. I need them, this is what I need. Maybe, for example, you are more focused on revenue generation, right? You need all the receipts, all the financial transactions to be able to carry out your analysis, to figure out how growth needs to improve in your organizations. Now, if you're also focused on the court cases, then you need to get documents that are related to those court cases, carry out your analysis. Like I mentioned, there are sophisticated tools that would help you be able to easily pass in your documents, and then it does a summary of those documents, also extracts all the right information from those documents and use them for your decision making, right? So you just need to look at the right tools for carrying out those analyses, right? What's the name of the law firm that made the research? Okay, so LexisNexis. I think I'll just put that in the chat. Let me put that in the chat. LexisNexis. Right, so there's LexisNexis. So I think they are like number one. Let me see. Okay, so this is going to host and panelists. Okay, let me just put it to everyone. LexisNexis. Yeah, so this is it. LexisNexis. So I think they're like number one when it comes to data analytics for legal operations. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm missing out some of the questions. Okay. Let's see. How do you gather data to analyze? Okay, so I've sorted these. What's the name of these analyzed? How can I use data analytics to improve my performance as a law graduate? Okay, so this is a big one. I think it's a very fantastic question. Basically, look at the number of things that you get to do, right? I'm not sure how your undergraduate studies are like. I don't have a degree in law, so I basically would not have an idea. But one thing you can do is to look at the operations that you get to carry out, right? Look at when you practice on certain cases, right? I'm not sure if we should focus on the school level or on your professional level, right? But if we're to look at the school level, then basically you want to analyze your grades, analyze certain technical things that you get to do, see how they compare with other strategies that you also implement. Maybe you understand, oh, when it comes to this particular case, I am not much of a talker in this axis. How can I improve? And you decide to find out things that work, or maybe liaise with other persons to see how things are working for them, and then be able to put that out. Now, there's also something that we call A/B testing, right? Which is basically having like two or more options, and then you're having them tested to see which of them is going to be more effective at the end of the day, right? Then you get your result, and then you can now make your better decisions. So you have one strategy, you also have another strategy, and then you're testing out both strategies to see which one has a much more better effect or impact for you. And then you can utilize that, right? I believe same thing also applies for your professional aspect. When you're looking at some of the things that you're doing, you get to note them down, and then you can be able to find one way or the other to analyze them. Always, Excel is always your friend, right? You can have your data noted down, put it into Excel, and then you have like a mini data, and then you can start analyzing it easy, right? That way you'd be able to understand what is actually going on and how you can make improvements in your performance. To serve as a data analyst in a law firm, while I am a lawyer as well, do you have to take data analysis class or have a course in it? Okay, so let's see. If you need to serve as a data analyst in a law firm, right? While you're a lawyer, do you need to take a data analysis class or have a course on it? I think there's only one answer to that, and that's yes. You need to take a data analysis course, right? And then combine it with your legal knowledge, right? So if you don't do that, you would not be able to serve as a data analyst, right? You need to understand all the intricacies of what being a data analyst means, and then now also understand how you can implement it into your legal operations. First off, the good thing there is that you have legal knowledge already. So let's tick that off the box. You have the domain knowledge, but then you also need to have knowledge in data analytics, right? So you need to understand, how do I handle the data when I have one? What are the things I need to look at when I have a data, right? Now I have a data that has a lot of complications. How do I sort this data properly to ensure that it does not falsify my analysis? So many things for you to look out for when you have that particular knowledge, right? So yes, the answer to that question is absolutely yes. There are short data analytic courses that you can take, and if you decide to go in depth into data analysis, there are more and more courses that you can take for that, right? So I mentioned something like QPI. What is the meaning? Okay, so I mentioned KPI, right? Not QPI. Let me put that in the chat. KPI, which is your key performance indicators, right? Basically things that you use to measure successes or improvements for maybe your business or the decisions that you take, right? You can decide to say, oh, how do I know that I'm doing better? These are the certain KPIs that I've written out. So once this is getting satisfied, I take it off the box. Okay, so I'm doing better based on this regards. I'm also doing better in this regards and the likes, right? So you might decide that your own KPI would be to stress a particular court so that they will adjourn a case more than 5 times. If they do not adjourn a case more than 5 times, it means that you have not met your KPI. So that could be your own KPI as well, right? It just shows that you're really frustrating everybody, and you're frustrating everybody is bringing satisfaction for you. So yeah, that could be a KPI for you as well, right? But in most cases, you use it as a measure of success. How would you decide to say, oh, this particular thing, I am successful at it, or I am not doing well? So if the case get adjourned maybe only twice, then it means that you've not met your KPI for that particular case, right? But once you do up to 5 times, you can then decide, so at this point, I don't care whether I lose the case or not. I've been able to hit my KPI, so I'm satisfied already, right? So yeah, what should be the first step into becoming a professional data analyst? Thank you for the session. Data affects everything we do. Absolutely. And detail of how it affects the legal profession is profound. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
It's like speaker was logged out. It's like our speaker was logged out. I'll see what's happening. Please kindly remain patient.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Apologies. So I went out of power and my internet is connected. Okay, so I'll just share my screen and then take some of the questions that I could see. And yeah, I think that's about that. There we go. Okay. So let's see. I was looking at the Q&A. Let's see. All right, so I talked about the KPIs already, and I also mentioned that for your first step to becoming a data analyst is to get knowledge in what data analytics is. Of course, just like you did for becoming a legal practitioner, you also need to first get knowledge, understand what the law is, things you need to do, what not to do, how to go about your profession, and the likes, right? So that would help you become better at that, right? Are there any special courses on legal analytics? Can I list them? So I haven't checked for this, but absolutely yes, there should be. I know there are like a couple of organizations that there's Law KPIs also, which is an organization that is providing legal analytics for law firms. So unless I will need to check out for courses like this online, and then I can share with Deborah afterwards. What is the full meaning of KPI? Okay, I talked about KPI already. Key performance indicators that help you define success, what success is for you, right? I believe that's about that. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening and for being a part of this session. It's been a super exciting one, an engaging one with everyone. Let me see. Right. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I think Deborah would have that shared afterwards. But yep, that's about that. Hi, Deborah. Thank you very much for the session. And yep.
Thank you very much, sir. Although, sir, thank you so much, sir, for this session. Thank you very, very much, sir. Okay, Deborah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Thank you for a great and highly insightful session. And thank you for your continued support for this platform. Ladies, kindly help me give him a resounding applause with your virtual hands. Mr. Samuel Ihiagwam is one of my great mentors in the space of the data analysis. And he's been a great supporter of this platform. He's been coming on for the past how many cohorts now, but I know it's not just two. He's always try to accommodate us, always busy. There was a change to today, but irrespective of how busy he's been, he's always trying to accommodate us into his schedule. This is a testament to the fact that people are so willing and very, very committed to helping us to build you and I in this space. And these are all, kind gestures of this person's for free. Like, we owe him a lot, to really, applaud him greatly. And yes, I know that we'll always have his continued support by the power of God. So I really want to appreciate you on behalf of myself and the entire team of the Hilton Top Solicitors Female Virtual Internship community. I say very big thank you, and we do not take you for granted for these great and invaluable lessons that you've shared with us in the space of legal analytics and the whole process around data analytics. We really appreciate you, and definitely we'll share your LinkedIn URL. Yes, of course. Okay, it's in the chat now. So kindly go and connect with Mr. Samuel Ihiagwam and then tag him in the great lessons that you have learned today. So connect with him on LinkedIn and any other social media platform that he's presently on, but he has shared the LinkedIn URL. So connect and tag him. You have learned a lot, so share it, tag him, tag the firm and tag me. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, once again. I'll speak with you later. Thank you. I'm really grateful.
All right, thank you very much, Deborah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you. Yeah.